What's good, family? And thank you for tuning in. Today, we're going to talk about moving forward. Let's kick this conversation off right. Moving forward often implies a sense of progression and proactive advancement, focusing on the steps to take to overcome obstacles or improve a situation. Now, this brings me back to one of my favorite movies from Disney Pixar, a great movie. I recommend everybody watches it. Meet the Robinsons. The story is about a young boy named Lewis who is an orphan and he's a young inventor. Lewis invents a bunch of things and tries to show them off anytime it comes time for him to meet a possible adoptive parents. And a lot of the times things go wrong. It doesn't work. It doesn't go how he planned it to go. And so Lewis gets frustrated and gets upset and gets down on himself. And he comes up with this bright idea to create this big invention that can flash back old memories. And so the movie takes place of him inventing the memory flasher, we'll call it that for argument's sake. And he takes it to his school talent show where he's about to showcase it. And for all extensive purposes, it's supposed to work. But the villain of the story comes from the future and sabotages Lewis's invention, causing Lewis to get distraught, down on himself, and ultimately wanting to quit at everything because he's frustrated. So the side character comes in, which is his son from the future, takes him back to the future, shows him what the future's like. Lewis wants to stay in the future and be adopted by that family. It's not until the family realizes who he is where they force him to go back to the present because he can't be there. And in doing so, Lewis gets very upset and he's just ready to literally quit at everything. So the villain is able to go back to the past and seize the opportunity to claim his invention, which messes up the future. And Lewis has to accept the fact that his place is in the present and not the future. And so it's not until Lewis accepts that and corrects his mistakes and goes back and fix his invention that he's able to actually get started on the future that he wanted so badly. So, DJ, what do you mean by telling us about this story and moving forward? The main synopsis of the story, which is a lot like our lives, is moving forward in spite of whatever comes our way. Moving forward in spite of obstacles, in spite of shortcomings, in spite of emotional distress. We have to keep moving forward. That's easier said than done, but it's something we have to do. We have to dig deep and we have to place one foot in front of the other. Now, I'm brought to a tomato situation. What's the difference between I'm going forward and I'm moving forward? Well, going forward is more of a planning. So you can plan to go this way and still change your mind. So going forward, there's no commitment there. There's no hardcore I'm doing this. It's just a plan. It's a strategic thing. So we can go left, and if left doesn't work, then we can go right. That's what going forward is. Moving forward is advancement. It is something we're taking strides. We're gonna keep pushing forward. We're gonna keep going forward. That's the difference between going forward and moving forward. A lot of us get stuck with the going and not doing the moving. And a lot of us plan out our next step on what we're going to do. We say it a lot. The New Year's is coming up. So we're all going to say what we're going to do for our New Year's resolution, or how we're going to treat each other, or how we're going to get our finances right, or how we're going to do whatever it is that we say we're going to do. But how many of us actually put forth the effort and the action into doing what we said we're going to do? How many of us actually follow what we said? So we have to keep moving forward as that movie implies. We can't get stuck on the failures. We can't get stuck on, well, we didn't make it this time. I was always taught that you can only fail at something when you quit. So as long as you have the mindset to keep pushing forward, to keep going, you haven't officially failed. You've just fallen short. But the thing about falling short is you can always rebound and come back. A lot of us have our own rebound stories where we didn't get it that time, but we bounced back, regrouped, got our stuff together, and came back stronger than what we ever did. I'm brought back to when my wife and I were purchasing our home. We ran into every shortcoming, every obstacle there was. Like credit wasn't right, finances, builders, you name it, we ran into it. And a lot of the times, my wife and I were like, man, this is it's frustrating. It's tiring. It gets our hopes up. Like, man, it's a process. But throughout that whole process, we had some damn good realtors that never let us stop moving forward. They always kept preparing us for the next step. Even if we missed the mark on a credit score, hey, well, you got to keep doing this. You got to keep paying this. You got to keep the faith and keep moving. Don't stop. Because when you stop, that's when it's all going to fall through. That's when you're no longer going to get it. So we have to power through. And it's easier said than done. Believe me, I understand. I've been at those low points where I can't take a step forward. I don't want to move forward. I'm tired of having to power through. I'm tired of having to push and push and push and pray and pray and pray and push some more and push some more and push some more. I understand it because I've been there. But it's not about the outcome, it's about the journey. I look at life like a game of chess. Now, that's not saying life is chess because nobody moves exactly how they're supposed to move. But what I've learned with chess is it's not so much about knowing how pieces move than anticipating your opponent's next move. Now, who's our opponent? Our opponent is life. And if you pay attention to how certain aspects of how your life moves or how certain people move, you can stay 2 or 3 moves ahead. It's about reading the flow of the room. So I'll give you an example. If you work in the refineries and you get into the holiday season, after Thanksgiving, the refineries slow down. So throughout the whole year, you're preparing yourself for this slowdown. Okay, well, I know come after Thanksgiving, our money's going to be tight. So throughout the whole year, you've stacked up money on the side. You've paid bills extra. You've put a little bit money over here and a little bit money over there. So that way, when the holiday time comes, you can finagle through and get through without it being so much of a detriment to yourself. That's reading the room. That's thinking 2 moves, 3 moves ahead. We have to get to that point where we're planning for our future. I like to think that we move forward from past actions and we learn from past actions. The question is asked sometimes, can you look back at your past and still move forward? And the answer is yes. You have to look back at your past because your past is where you've gained your knowledge and your wisdom and your experience from. Past experiences affect your current present, which paves the road for your future. So you can't go forward without knowing where you've been. That's why we sit down and we listen to our parents and our grandparents and we listen to the lessons that they taught us about the mistakes that they've made, the shortcomings that they had. And we listen to how they try to gear us up to prepare ourselves for whatever it is that you may have coming. So you have to look to your past to get these lessons, to navigate your current present, which again paves the way for your future. You can't get to your future without acknowledging your past. Now, am I telling y'all to dwell on your past? No, you can't dwell on past mistakes because it's in the past. It's already done. It's already been done. There's no changing that. All you can do is look at it, learn from it, move forward. A lot of us want to dwell on, well, I dropped the ball here. I wasn't so great there. It's okay, because Rome wasn't built in a day. There's no such thing as the perfect human. We're gonna make mistakes. We're gonna fall short. That's the whole part of the human experience. But you learn from those mistakes. My dad always told me, because I was a very hard-headed kid, smart people learn from their mistakes. Stupid people go back and do the same thing over and over again, expecting a different outcome. So you got to decide which one you're gonna be, because you can't go around doing the same thing and thinking, wow, I felt this time doing it this way, well, this time's going to be different because the day is different. Nah, you got to alter and change your game plan. You got to change with the times. I mean, look at us now. We have adapted ourselves to meet our current present. We've had to learn new things, pick up new trades. Some of us had to go back to school. Some of us have had to take pay deductions just to get to a position where we can grow. I mean, we've had to maneuver ourselves to where we can progress forward. Sometimes, I hate to say it, you're going to get knocked back in order to go forward. It may sound ridiculous, but that's the way it is sometimes. Sometimes you have to go backwards to go forward. You may have to go back and reinvent yourself on some things or relearn something in order to progress even further, or else you're going to stay at that roadblock that you were at previously. A lot of the things that we're going to talk about in the podcast is going to be about progression, because I know for myself, and I can't speak for y'all, I can only speak for DJ. I've struggled with progression, and I've struggled with moving forward. I've struggled with letting go of certain aspects of my past. And so I'm not speaking to y'all from some, I went to school for this crap. Nah, this is all stuff that I've been through, stuff that I've lived through. I wasn't born a good husband or a good son or a good father. I've become one over time. It's the mistakes. I always tell my kids, it's not about how you fall. It's about how you get back up. It's not about where you failed. It's about what you're going to do after you fail. And a lot of us, we're so used to winning, we don't know how to fail. A lot of us are so used to things going a certain way to where when it deviates from that, we don't know how to deal with it because it's unknown. We've never had to deal with it. Everything's always gone according to the plan. Well, sometimes life deviates from your plan and you have to reinvent your plan. You can't apply the same plan to every situation. Just like everybody can't go about handling things the same way. A left-handed person can never write like a right-handed person. If your dominant hand is left, you're a lefty. If your dominant hand is right, you're a righty. No two people are the same. And no two people will handle situations the same. But the encouragement of moving forward is the same. There are certain things that, regardless of who you are, it's going to be the same. So progression is the same for all of us. It just takes a different form. And overcoming obstacles is the same for all of us. Again, it just takes a different form. So we talked about the journey forward. We've talked about understanding going versus moving forward. We've talked about learning from our failures and rebounding, and the importance of anticipating life's moves, navigating the past to shape the future, and embracing progress and overcoming obstacles. If we take all these in strides and apply each one of these points in different ways to our lives, we'll continue to move forward. We'll continue to take steps in the right direction. Again, if you got to go backwards to go forwards, that's okay. Don't stop moving. Don't give up, because it's not until you quit that you've officially failed. Thank y'all for tuning in. Talk to y'all again next week.